Von Miller, officially introduced by the Cowboys Tuesday, the two-time Super Bowl champion and 8-time Pro Bowler, is the latest addition to a revamped Dallas defense that looks to improve off of a league worst ranking in 2025. And as the locker room makes room for these new players, there's some number negotiations to take place as well.
I'm not going to get caught up in a number, but I did make some offers to him already that he can't. I feel like he can't really, come off of those. I think, a lifetime supply of chicken, I do it. So, whatever it takes to, to make it happen, whether it does or not. Like, I'm here to win games. I'm here to win a Super Bowl. A number would be nice, but I think the most important thing is to win a lot of these games, playing big games, and the number would just be an afterthought.
Into the NFL we go. During a virtual meet and greet with fans last week, Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott said the one thing he loves about Cowboys Nation is that it's, quote, Super Bowl or bust, and that the only reason you play the game is because of that. Yesterday, Stephen A., a.k.a. Southern Steve, had a strong reaction to hearing Dak.
I don't appreciate Dak Prescott, compelling people in the football world to want to throw up in the month of July. I mean, really, the season hasn't even started yet, and I already want to throw. I want to vomit. You got to be kidding me. That's what I love about Cowboys Nation is Super Bowl or bust. Well, you haven't even been in a conference championship game in 30 years.
Get that man some Pepto-Bismol, guys. Kimberly Martin, Louis Riddick now joining us. So, Louis.
Yeah.
I hear Stephen A. I know that this is something that Cowboys fans and the players, the rhetoric is there every single year. Yeah. But is it fair to say that it's Super Bowl or bust for the Cowboys in 2026?
Yeah, it is. Look, I don't think you have to necessarily have been knocking on the door beforehand in order for your expectations in the following year to be Super Bowl or bust, especially when you look at Dallas and you look at what they have done this offseason as far as upgrading this roster. And it is 1 through 53. It's legit now. On the defensive side of the football in particular, which everyone knew that they needed to address last year, look, Will McClay, who's in charge of personnel, went to work on this football team, and they have got nothing but baller after baller. And they started this work early on, during the season with the people that they acquired. Now, the young guys that they brought in, Caleb Downs, Malachi Lawrence, Jayshon Barham, these are all people, Rashawn Gary now as far as a veteran acquisition, these are guys who are going to play huge, pivotal roles as far as them going ahead and leveling up on that side of the football to where they are going to be able to deal with any team in the National Football League, I believe, at any time during the season. Christian Parker has to be huge. I know Kimberly Martin talks about him a lot, and I'm sure she's going to mention the fact that their new defensive coordinator has to play a huge role. But offensively, they have one of the best offensive lines in football. They have one of the best wide receiver duos in football. Dak is one of the best best quarterbacks in football. They have depth at running back. There really aren't any excuses for Dallas anymore.
So it's not just a saying anymore.
Absolutely not. Look, I personally am picking them to win the division. Okay. I think they are the favorite in the division because of the work that they've done this offseason, because of Brian Schottenheimer's influence on this football team, and the fact that I think just man for man, I think they're better than Philadelphia right now.
So here's my problem with Stephen A. He's so disingenuous. Because if Dak Prescott had said in front of those people, you know what our goal is? We just want to make the damn playoffs, honestly. We just hope to make it. Stephen A. would be killing him for saying that.
True.
So to everything that Louis is saying, this is a team that has overhauled its entire defense. Mm-hmm. And it's not just Christian Parker. He's a huge piece of it because they went through a laborious process to even land on him. Last guy that Brian Schottenheimer and Jerry even interviewed. But the entire defensive coaching staff is different. And the expectations for that unit is to go from one of the worst. I just need them to be decent. If you have a decent defense paired with that offense, then I think they have a legit shot to win the division, like Louis is saying, but also to go further. I think every player says it's Super Bowl or bust for us. So I'm not going to I'm not going to knock Dak for saying that. However, this is a team, I just want to see you get to a title game. Mm-hmm. Because it's been so long that you've even made the playoffs. But they've put everything into the middle of the table in theory to sort of revamp the roster. And I think the expectation is that this is a team that needs to go deep into the playoffs.
Yeah, so many times we say Super Bowl or bust. We need to define what the bust is. We know what Super Bowl is. Super Bowl or bust, guess what? We have two examples last year. Baltimore and Buffalo. Both head coaches were fired. Right, so if we're going to say Super Bowl or bust for the Dallas Cowboys, how I would define bust for an NFL team, one of three people need to not be in the position that they're in the next year. The general manager. You just said it, Lou. Will McClay, everybody says is the greatest GM that no one knows a name, which is what people say about Christian Parker as the soon-to-be defensive coordinator. Mm-hmm. Those are really the two guys we got to focus on that are really good that we don't know their names as well, okay? General manager ain't losing his job.
Right.
Quarterback ain't losing his job.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Head coach
should not lose his job.
So then it's not Super Bowl or bust. We're talking about a 7-win team last year. Brian Schottenheimer Kmart, they won. You're putting them 7 wins to the Super Bowl?
Here's where I will give the context to your passionate argument already, is the fact that this was a team that you're asking Brian Schottenheimer as a first-year head coach who inherits this team, and then you're like, hey, guess what? Your best player? Yeah, I'm shipping him to Green Bay. Good luck. Who's also in your conference? Good luck with that. And Brian's like, all right, now we got to piece this together. And then you lose a player during the season. And for Brian Schottenheimer to keep the team together, not just keep it together, but for that team to actually play better as the season went on, I think you have to give him credit for dealing with all that in the first year. So that's the context that I would add.
I think in Dak's case, when he says bust, I think for him, I think he's just saying, look, it's disappointment. It's Super Bowl or it's disappointing, not it's Super Bowl or, everyone's going to be calling for people's jobs, because that doesn't apply here. I don't think that would be reasonable even for Dallas. I mean, you couldn't be making wholesale changes if they don't make the Super Bowl. But I think it is not out of the realm of normal, sane, coherent football talk for Dallas to be mentioned in the conversation as far as being true Super Bowl contenders, because objectively, looking at their roster, they're damn good. They're damn good in every single area, quite honestly. There's still some questions for me at corner in particular, but down the middle of this defense and on the first two levels in particular, throughout, this team is legit. That offensive line stays healthy. They are legit. They will move the football. They will score points. The scheme, strategies, tactics, that's all on Schottenheimer. I think he is more than capable of handling that end of it. Look, things have to break right for this football team that if they don't, of course, Stephen A is going to kill them for it. And even if it isn't their fault, he's going to kill them anyway. But this team's legit.
We'd also be killing them. Brian Schottenheimer said last week the goal is to get to the Super Bowl. We'd be killing Dak Prescott if he said anything other than that, Kimberly.
What is the disadvantage if they don't perform well? Then what? Is it just, Cowboys disappoint and we go about our business? I think that's what Evan is saying. What's the end result there?
I think then we have to define what's disappointment. I mean, if they are if they're an 8-9 win team, that's disappointing. Then we may be looking at some things going like, wait a minute, this roster's too good for that. Then there may be some things that you may have to really evaluate. I just don't see that happening unless there's some kind of like catastrophic injury and or, attrition just kills them this year. Dallas is going to be there in the end. If all things being equal, and they have their, the majority of their roster, their top 30 players playing for the entire season, they will win the East.